Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana. Tamu sana, yes, tamu sana. Tamu sana. William Ruto's admission today that is willing to engage in some form of mediation with President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is still drawing a lot of mixed reaction. About some few minutes ago, Nyeri Town Member of Parliament and a very, very close Uhuru ally took to his Facebook account and had this to say. So you only want Uhuru to do handshakes with you. If he does it with anyone else, it's wrong. The insincerity is mind-blowing. That's Ngunjiri Wambugu, Nyeri Town Member of Parliament, a very, very close Uhuru ally. In fact, the Member of Parliament who came out with the Kileweke slogan. So from this post, Ngunjiri Wambugu is just trying to insinuate that William Ruto wants a handshake with the president. And Wambugu is also trying to insinuate that William Ruto does not want Uhuru Kenyatta to have any handshake with anybody else apart from himself, William Ruto. So in this video right now, I want us to see and really look at it keenly and critically and see, is it possible after all this thing that has happened for Uhuru Kenyatta to have another handshake with William Ruto only remaining 11 months to the next general election? Is it possible? I want to get your feedbacks, but in this video right now, from where I sit, I strongly believe beyond any reasonable doubt that that's not possible. Uhuru and Ruto cannot have another handshake as of now because of very, very serious reasons. I strongly believe in that. So I've come out, or rather, I've settled on about 6 reasons why it will be very, very hard or a near impossibility for these two leaders to have a handshake before maybe next year's election. The first thing is because of Gideon Moi factor. We all know the history of Uhuru Kenyatta and our late president, the late president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. In fact, it was Moi who introduced Uhuru Kenyatta into politics. And before Moi died, we saw Uhuru making some trips to Kabarak. And during those trips, or even maybe not even really those trips, it's widely believed and speculated that Uhuru Kenyatta and maybe Moi must have had some kind of a blood pact. Or if not a blood pact, they must have had some kind of a gentleman agreement for Uhuru Kenyatta to make sure he protects Gideon Moi. That's a very widely speculated rumor. So from where I sit and from the way Uhuru has been playing his politics, it seems to appear that one thing that is making it very, very hard for him to reconcile with Ruto is because of the Gideon Moi factor. Assuming Uhuru reconciles with William Ruto today, it simply means that most likely maybe he will endorse or support William Ruto. Because I know even if they were to reconcile and Uhuru fails to support or endorse William Ruto, they will still be fighting. I strongly believe that way because they'll still be angling for the mountain vote. Uhuru will be trying to persuade the residents of Mount Kenya to vote for his preferred candidate. Ruto will also be angling for the same vote. And for maybe one to win against the other, you must play it a little bit dirty. So as long as William Ruto insists that he will be on the presidential race next year, I'm not seeing a situation where these two leaders will have some kind of a reconciliation. And on top of that, it's either Uhuru to kill Ruto politically or to kill Gideon Moi politically. So from where I sit again, I believe Uhuru would rather kill William Ruto politically instead of killing Gideon Moi politically. So because of that, I'm not seeing any situation where Uhuru or even William Ruto will have some kind of a handshake before next year's election. The second thing, or rather the second reason why I also strongly believe that a handshake between Uhuru and Ruto as of now is just a wishful thinking is because since 2013 when this duo came to power, they shared the government equally, 50-50. And then in the second term, largely also Uhuru had to share it a bit with William Ruto. So here is William Ruto who wants Uhuru Kenyatta to endorse and support him for presidency, while in Uhuru's regime, they shared equally. And then also, it's also widely believed again that before Ruto decided to support Uhuru Kenyatta, there were some monetary exchanges. Money exchanged hands. And that might have also influenced Ruto to support Uhuru Kenyatta. So with all those kind of allegations, whether allegations or facts, I honestly believe, because Uhuru is a human being, and we are all human beings, with all that, you use money to induce somebody to support you, then you divide or rather share your government equally with that person. Then that person comes again to you to demand that you support him. I'm not seeing that situation. I believe that Uhuru Kenyatta most likely will find it very, very hard to support William Ruto because of all those reasons. And then the third reason why I believe it will be very, very hard for Uhuru and Ruto to have a handshake is simply because historically, what is happening today between Uhuru and Ruto has happened somewhere, in other places. And in almost all the scenarios, it has always been proved that it's very, very hard for a reconciliation to be achieved. Because if you go through the 48 laws of power, the first law, it states very well that never outshine the master. And we have also even been given example of people who outshone their masters, and the consequences were dire. In the 48 laws of power, we are given a personality by the name of Nicholas Fouquet. Nicholas Fouquet was like the finance minister in the administration of King Louis XIV. So when the prime minister at that time, Jules Mazarin, died in office, everybody felt and thought that Nicholas Fouquet was the right person who was more qualified to hold that office of the prime minister. Nicholas Fouquet was a very philanthropic man, a very popular man on the ground, and somebody who loved very good things and fine things in life. But now that his flamboyance and all that popularity got into his head to a point the king felt threatened by this Nicholas Fouquet's popularity. And also Nicholas Fouquet actually overdid himself. He outshone the king in various occasions. So with that again, so Nicholas Fouquet, he felt that maybe his relationship with the king was growing cold. So he organized a lavish party and invited the king. And they had a very good time throughout the night. The following morning, the king ordered for the arrest of Nicholas Fouquet. If you compare it to what is happening right now between Uhuru and Ruto, Ruto might have seen that his relationship with the king, in this case the president, has grown cold. So he's trying to offer an olive branch for the king. The truth of the matter, or rather if you look at historical events properly, most likely the outcome of that an olive branch Ruto has maybe offered to Uhuru is going to be catastrophic. Uhuru might now decide to be more brutal and very ruthless with Ruto, just because of that olive branch William Ruto is trying to offer to him. And historically, that's how it turns out. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe that Ruto and Uhuru having a handshake before 2022 is not something that is possible. Is not possible. It's done and dusted. Buried. It's not possible. And then fourthly, ladies and gentlemen, also if you look at what has happened between Uhuru and Ruto, a lot has happened. And I don't think whether Uhuru in his right mind might have confidence in William Ruto, going by the fact of what has happened. A lot has happened. These people are really engaged in some very, very unhealthy kind of competition and some utterances. And I'm very much convinced that it will not be very easy for Uhuru to trust William Ruto now with power. Because now, even with the type of a person William Ruto is, you cannot predict maybe how he will react if he gets that power. And then fifthly, ladies and gentlemen, William Ruto's personality also comes to be working against him. He talks a lot. He talks much. He appears to be arrogant, proud, emotional, and somehow annoyed all kind of a personality. So with all these kind of character traits, I think it's also making it very hard to have a handshake with the president. Because the mere fact that he has come out in public to offer an olive branch to the president, that's disrespect in itself. That's disrespect. So I believe that to see him also coming out in public to offer an olive branch to the president is also an indication, yes, as much as it might be disrespect, it's also an indication that maybe behind the scenes in private, he might have tried to reach out to the president, but it has all failed. Because this thing of the churches trying to broker a peace between Ruto and Uhuru, it has not started today. It's something that has been in the pipeline for quite some times now. But the mere fact that the church is coming out in public, William Ruto is also coming out in public, it simply means this whole thing of maybe a deal or some truce has backfired. So as I talk now, it's something that has been tried maybe by the church and even by William Ruto through his proxies, but I believe it has failed. So as of now, when I'm talking, it's something that has been tried and has failed. So it's also an indication that that truce might not be realized. And then finally, Uhuru has totally nothing to gain or lose by having a handshake with Ruto as of now. Uhuru is finishing his second term and is retiring next year. And Uhuru right now has he has a team of leaders surrounding it. He can just decide to support any leader, maybe Raila Amolo Odinga. And with the system and with the support maybe Raila Odinga has, then Raila will just win the presidency very easily. So I'm not seeing a situation where Uhuru having a handshake with Ruto will help Uhuru in one way or the other. In fact, it's only Ruto who might gain out of that. So I strongly believe that it somehow is almost zero or very hard for Uhuru and Ruto to have some kind of a handshake before next year's election. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think. Drop a comment and also let me also know what you also think about this thing of Uhuru-Ruto handshake, something like that. Otherwise, God bless you. God bless Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana.